Welcome to Inspiring Narratives, your favorite channel for uplifting stories, renewed hope, and cultivating a deeper connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Discover with me how turning to Allah can lead you to amazing changes in your life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're back with another uplifting story that will, by the grace of Allah, strengthen your faith and renew your hope, inshallah. Let's start by sending peace and blessings on our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Sheikh Muhammad Sabra says, one day an elderly man entered the mosque and saw a young man sitting alone. He appeared weighed down, as if carrying the struggles of the world. Concerned, I approached him to offer some comfort and asked, "Why are you crying, my son? What makes you sad?" The young man replied, "Uncle, I have been married for over 6 years, yet Allah Almighty has not blessed us with a child. We've visited countless doctors and spent so much money, but nothing has changed. The hurtful words of people break my wife's heart. They don't understand that the one who gives and withholds is Allah alone." The man telling the story, a simple elderly man, says to the young man, "Son, you have gone to all the doctors and there has been no result?" The young man said, "Yes, uncle." The man then asked, "Have you gone to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?" The young man responded, "How?" The elderly man said, "Son, I may not know how to read and write, but I know that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that whoever calls upon Allah in the last part of the night before dawn, at that time Allah descends to the lowest heaven and listens to those who call upon him, and he grants them what they ask for." The Sheikh explains, the man wanted to tell him what the Prophet, peace and blessing, taught us, that Allah Almighty descends to the lowest heaven in the last third of the night, in a way that befits His majesty and beauty, and says, "Who will call upon me that I may answer him? Who will ask of me that I may give him? Who will seek my forgiveness that I may forgive him?" The man wanted to convey this message, so he told the young man, "Turn to Allah." The young man replied, "Uncle, I will do that." The young man returned home and his wife noticed that he seemed happy and cheerful. She asked him, "Why are you so happy today? What happened?" He told her, "I went to the mosque," and then explained to her what had happened, and then asked her, "What do you think? Should we give it a try? You have nothing to lose." Sheikh explains, "I want to remind you that there is no such thing as trying with Allah. Rather, when I tell you to try it, it is so that your heart may find peace, as happened with Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he asked Allah, 'Show me how you give life to the dead.' Allah asked him, 'Do you not believe?' He replied, 'Yes, I do, but just so that my heart can be reassured.' Glory be to Allah. The wife agreed, and every night, an hour or two before dawn, they would pray to Allah Almighty to grant them a child. The young man returned to the mosque some time later and saw the same elderly man who had advised him to ask from Allah. But this time the young man was happy and joyful. The man, a simple farmer, saw the young man running towards him with tears of joy in his eyes. The young man told him, "Allah Almighty has blessed us, and my wife is pregnant by His power and grace. I did what you asked me to do. I turned to Allah during the time that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, mentioned. When Allah descends to the lowest heaven, I prayed to Allah and He answered my prayer." The Sheikh goes on to say, this story doesn't end here. "One day I was delivering a sermon, and by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a man from another part of the country came to attend the sermon. This man drove an hour and a half to come to the masjid where I was giving the sermon to tell me a story. The Sheikh says, by Allah, this story touched my heart deeply. This man had seen some of my videos, but we had never met in person. On that day, I wasn't dressed in the traditional clothing that people might recognize me in. I was wearing a long jacket. The young man was unsure if I was Sheikh Muhammad or not. He wanted to tell me something important. After I finished my sermon, he came up to me and asked me, "Excuse me, are you Sheikh Muhammad?" I replied, "Inshallah." He insisted, "Please, are you really Sheikh Muhammad?" Finally, I told him, "Yes, it's me. What's the matter?" He then told me, "By Allah, Sheikh, something happened to me because of you, after the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You were one of the reasons, after Allah, that my prayers were answered. I've been asking Allah for a child for 4 years, and my wife and I have been praying and praying. Then one day I saw a video of yours, and when I heard that story about the young man and the wise farmer, I felt like Allah was sending me a message. The Sheikh says, I swear to you, this story happened to me personally. It's not something I heard or read about. It happened to me. So I sat down with the young man and he told me, please, Sheikh, just listen to my story. I told him, go ahead. He said, when I heard that story, I felt like Allah was sending a message. You see, Sheikh, I have been married for 4 years and Allah has not granted us a child. My wife has never been pregnant, not even once. But by Allah, when I heard your story on my phone, I decided to do what the man in the story did. My wife and I started waking up every night before dawn, and we would pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a child. And now, Sheikh, by the will of Allah, my wife is pregnant. Please pray for us that Allah will make it a safe and successful pregnancy. The Sheikh says, I swear when I heard this from him, I got goosebumps. And my heart was overwhelmed and I got emotional and couldn't control my tears. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make anything happen. He will guide you. You are the one who has distanced yourself from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is calling you, saying, call upon me and I will answer you. He is the one who said, and when my servant asks you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him, was asked by a man, where is Allah? Ali ibn Abi Talib replied with this verse, and when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. Turn to Allah when you are in distress. Be with Allah and do not worry. Extend your hands to Him in the darkness of the nights and say, O Allah, this world isn't pleasant except with your remembrance, nor is the hereafter except with your forgiveness, nor is paradise except with your mercy. And may Allah send peace and blessings upon our Prophet Muhammad, and praise be to Allah, Lord of the worlds. I hope you enjoyed this story. I myself, just reading it and going through it, I am touched and moved. This brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you found any value in this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your family and friends. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, then consider subscribing. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so do leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.